Hello everyone, and welcome to Earth Archives. Today, we're taking you into the brilliant world of romantic music, the musical universe of Franz Schubert. Schubert, the Austrian genius composer, created over 1,500 works in his short 31 years of life, including classics like the Unfinished Symphony and timeless art songs, leaving a profound influence. In this video, we will explore Schubert's life, his revolutionary art songs, and how he used melody to portray the most touching poetic emotions. If you love classical music and want to learn about romantic composers, don't miss this exciting content. Subscribe to our channel now, hit the notification bell, and the show is about to begin. Mentioning Franz Schubert is like opening a door to a poetic world of music. Although this Austrian composer lived only 31 years, within that limited time, he composed over 600 art songs, 9 symphonies, including the famous Unfinished Symphony, numerous piano pieces, and chamber works, truly astonishing. Schubert is hailed as a founder of romantic music, with melodies that are delicate and moving, emotions sincere and rich, as if they speak directly to the heart. His music reads like a quietly whispered love letter, or like a flowing landscape painting of the soul. Whether it's longing for love, reflections on life, or praise of nature, he vividly expresses it all through his notes. Although Schubert's life was short, it shone brightly like a shooting star. He lived only 31 years, but composed over 1,500 works, a level of productivity and quality that continues to amaze the world today. In his hands, music was no longer just a collection of melodies, but a flow of emotions and an outpouring of the soul. His work spanned symphonies, chamber music, piano pieces, operas, and art songs, all exquisitely moving. Yet, if there is one form that best represents the deepest voice of Schubert's soul, it is undoubtedly the art song, which he cherished above all. Schubert was the true pioneer of the art song. He perfectly blended German poetry with music, allowing the essence of the text to flow through the melody. Classics like Erlkönig, Traut Quintet, and Heidenröslein are more than songs, they are vivid sound paintings, where listeners can almost see the characters and scenes unfold. This profound fusion of poetry and music completely transformed the direction of 19th century music, breathing new life and spirit into Romanticism. Schubert's musical world is like a dream bathed in soft light, both romantic and real. His melodies are like gentle streams of clear water, quietly flowing into the listener's heart and stirring waves of emotion. He did not chase grandiosity, but with the simplest notes, he could touch the deepest parts of the soul. Whether delicate and tender piano pieces or art songs woven with joy and sorrow, his music always carries an ineffable charm that captivates listeners, as if transporting them through time into the sensitive, poetic, and somewhat melancholic world he created. Although Schubert did not receive the recognition he deserved during his lifetime, his works have since shone brightly through their sincere emotions and unique musical language. His art songs, such as Winter Eyes and Die Schönmalerin, are not only a combination of voice and piano, but a soulful dialogue between poetry and music. Through melody, he breathed life into the verses, allowing listeners to almost feel the traveler's loneliness, the longing for love, the soul struggles, and eventual release. These works are nearly the musical embodiment of poetry, with every note carrying profound emotions and stories. Franz Schubert was born on January 31, 1797, in Vienna, the musical capital of Austria, a city destined to be the starting point and stage for his musical dreams. As the 12th child in his family, Schubert grew up in a household that was not wealthy but rich in cultural atmosphere. His father was the principal of a parish school. Though not a professional musician, he possessed considerable musical knowledge. His mother was gentle and loving. Though the family was modest, it was warm and filled with the echoes of music. Schubert's musical education began at home. His father taught him violin, and his older brother was responsible for his piano lessons. Yet, the boy's musical talent far exceeded expectations. His mastery of instruments and understanding of music seemed innate, and within a few short years, he revealed an astonishing ability to compose. Even at a young age, he could create well-structured, melodious pieces. This remarkable talent quickly caught the attention of Vienna's music circles. At the age of 8, Schubert experienced the first major turning point in his life. His pure childhood voice and keen musical sensitivity caught the attention of Antonio Salieri, a prominent figure in Vienna's music scene at the time. Salieri was no ordinary teacher. He was a court composer who had instructed great masters like Beethoven and Liszt. He praised Schubert's vocal talent highly and took him on as a pupil, personally teaching him composition and music theory. For the young Schubert, this was undoubtedly a gateway to a much broader musical world. With Salieri's recommendation and support, Schubert was admitted to Vienna's most prestigious music school of the time, the Stadtkonvikt, the municipal seminary boarding school. This institution not only offered rigorous musical training, but also housed rich musical resources and collections. More importantly, it allowed him to deeply engage with the works of classical giants such as Mozart, Haydn, and Beethoven. These masterpieces nourished his soul and laid a solid foundation for his later development of the Romantic style. During his time at the convict, Schubert was not a student confined to textbooks. He attended classes by day, but returned to his modest dormitory at night to continue composing, often writing through the entire night. His melodies seemed to flow endlessly, and from his teenage years, he displayed astonishing creative energy. During this period, he not only became well-versed in the language of classical music, but also began exploring his own unique musical voice, gradually breaking away from traditional boundaries and moving toward a more emotionally nuanced and melodically freer Romantic style. Although Schubert showed remarkable musical talent from a young age, his life was not without hardships. At 18, he chose to return to the school where his father taught, taking a job as a teacher to support himself. While the position was stable, it was dull and confining for a young man whose heart was filled with melodies and a passion for composing. He taught during the day and secretly wrote music by candlelight at night, his burning desire for creative freedom never fading. During this period, Schubert's output remained astonishing. He composed a large number of songs, chamber music, and piano pieces, seemingly pouring all his emotions into notes. He sent his works to publishers, hoping to have his voice heard by a wider audience, but faced repeated rejections. At that time, the music market was dominated by opera and large-scale symphonies. His delicate, lyrical, and poetic art songs were not considered mainstream. As a result, Schubert's music circulated only among a small circle of close friends. It was their support and encouragement that allowed him to persevere in composing without giving up. It wasn't until 1816 that a glimmer of hope appeared in his life. That year, he resigned from teaching and resolved to dedicate himself fully to music. Although his income remained uncertain, his works began to attract more attention, especially within Vienna's artistic circles. His friends even organized so-called Schubertiades, intimate salon gatherings where people could listen to his music. These warm and personal concerts became a direct bridge between Schubert and his audience, helping him gradually build his musical reputation. Schubert's musical journey was filled with hardships, but fate eventually opened a window thanks to his relentless perseverance. Shortly after resigning from his teaching position to devote himself fully to composition, a noble-born student named Franz von Schubert became an important benefactor in his life. Schubert was not only a cultured young man, but also a great admirer and friend of Schubert's music. He invited Schubert to move into his home, providing him with free room, board, and a peaceful environment for composing. For the first time, the young composer experienced the freedom of living for music. In this stable and worry-free environment, Schubert's creative energy burst forth fully. He composed almost every day, from early morning until late at night, always immersed in music. He produced a vast number of songs, piano pieces, and chamber works, many of which later became classics. However, the publishing system and prevailing tastes of the time were not kind to him. Publishers favored large-scale operas and well-known composers, while Schubert's delicate, poetic art songs were often overlooked. As a result, most of his works circulated privately among friends, with few opportunities to reach a wider audience. Despite these challenges, this period was incredibly valuable for Schubert. Through Schubert's introductions, he met many writers, poets, and musicians, including the poet Wilhelm Müller and the painter Moritz von Schwind, who not only inspired him, but also became important supporters of his musical career. Moreover, Vienna's musical salons gradually opened their doors to his music, and the Schubertiades increasingly became a cherished cultural fixture in the city. Schubert's music is like a window that allows us to glimpse the most delicate facets of human emotion. His creative talent shines not only in the smoothness and beauty of his melodies, but also in his flexible mastery and innovation of musical forms. Especially in the realm of the art song lied, he was undoubtedly a true pioneer. Schubert perfectly fused poetry and music, creating a brand new narrative style in which poetry is no longer just words on a page, but an emotional world that can be sung aloud. Among Schubert's many art songs, Winterreise and Die Schon Müllerin stand out as quintessential masterpieces. These two song cycles not only depict the traveler's loneliness and heartbreak, but also vividly express the psychological layers of the poetry through changes in melody, rhythm, and harmony. Schubert made music an extension of the soul of the poetry, each melody deeply resonating with the verses. Sometimes it's a gentle whisper, other times an emotional outburst. Each song acts like a miniature drama, telling a complete and sincere emotional story within just a few minutes. What makes Schubert's work even more remarkable is that it never resorts to superficial showiness. His keen observations of humanity and nature allow him to express the deepest emotions with simple language. The sweetness and bitterness of love, the hopes and disillusionments of life, the calm and mystery of nature. These elements can not only be heard, but truly felt in his music. He gave his notes warmth and made the piano accompaniment a vivid narrator of the setting, performing together with the singer in an emotionally intertwined theatrical experience of the soul. In 1822, at the young age of 26, Schubert experienced a rare high point in his life. He had the fortune to meet the already legendary Beethoven. The great musical master highly praised the young composer's talent. It is said that at several private gatherings, after listening to some of Schubert's works, Beethoven exclaimed, "This young man harbors the spark of genius." Such recognition was undoubtedly a tremendous encouragement for Schubert, injecting his creative work with infinite energy and confidence. Although Beethoven's health deteriorated in his later years, he remained deeply concerned about the development of the next generation of musicians. Shortly before his death, he even expressed high hopes for Schubert, wishing that Schubert's operas and piano works would create a sensation in the world and bring new brilliance to the realm of music. Beethoven deeply regretted not having met Schubert earlier, which speaks volumes about the great respect he had for Schubert's musical talent. This recognition from a musical giant was not only an affirmation of Schubert's abilities, but also symbolized the passing of the musical spirit from one generation to the next. However, fate was not kind to Schubert. Despite his shining path in musical composition, health problems began to quietly overshadow the young genius starting in 1823. Schubert gradually developed symptoms of syphilis, a disease that brought physical suffering as well as tremendous psychological stress and fear. Medical treatments at the time were limited, and the mercury-based therapies often used to treat syphilis could cause serious harm, leading to mercury poisoning. Scholars generally believe that Schubert's premature death was likely the result of the combined effects of syphilis and mercury poisoning. This shadow of illness caused his health to decline steadily in the final years of his life, yet his creative passion never waned. Even in the face of pain and an uncertain future, Schubert immersed himself in music, expressing his inner sorrows, joys, and struggles through his compositions. This intense vitality and artistic pursuit gave his works greater depth amid sadness, and allowed listeners to feel the fragile yet resilient spirit of life within them. In 1830, at the young age of 31, Schubert passed away due to illness. The news struck the music world like a lightning bolt, shocking and deeply saddening many. Officially, his cause of death was recorded as typhoid fever, but given the limited medical knowledge of the time, this explanation remains disputed. Many researchers believe that his long battle with syphilis and mercury poisoning ultimately weakened his body beyond recovery, leading to his premature death. Schubert's funeral was solemn and heartfelt. Movingly, he was buried beside his long-admired Beethoven, a gesture that was not only the highest tribute to the legendary composer, but also symbolized the eternal companionship of two great musical souls from different generations. Though both geniuses lived brief lives, their musical spirits shine like brilliant stars illuminating the entire classical music sky. Although Schubert did not enjoy widespread fame or great acclaim during his lifetime, the value of his music was gradually discovered and appreciated after his death. As his works were uncovered, organized, and promoted, more and more musicians and listeners began to feel the boundless charm contained in the melodies of this young prodigy. Great 19th century musicians, such as Robert Schumann and Franz Liszt, openly expressed their admiration for Schubert's compositions. It was through the efforts of these successors that Schubert's music transcended the boundaries of time, profoundly influencing the development of Romantic music. Today, Schubert's music has become one of the treasures of Western classical music. His art songs are not only essential teaching materials for music study, but also the very soul of musical appreciation. Countless pianists, vocalists, and conductors take pride in performing Schubert's works, and his melodies continue to warm the hearts of music lovers like a gentle spring breeze. In his brief life, Schubert created a vast musical universe. His melodies and emotions transcend time, inspiring generations of musicians and listeners forever. Thank you all for joining me on this journey into Schubert's richly poetic musical world. His melodies are tender and profound, allowing us to feel the soul and emotion of Romantic music. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Schubert's life and work, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment telling me your favorite Schubert piece, and share it with your music-loving friends. Subscribe to our channel to explore more wonderful stories together. There are many more exciting episodes waiting for you. Remember to turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next time.